What's up, plant lovers? I'm Devin Wallien, and today we're going to be talking about some tips for growing our clematis or clematis, depending on where you live, how you pronounce it, doesn't matter. They're one of the most beloved climbing vines, and there's a few different kinds of clematis that can be grown. In particular, they are categorized into 3 different groups based on how they should be pruned. We'll talk about pruning towards the end of the video, but we'll start the video by just going through some basic tips for growing our clematis to get our beautiful flowers as prolifically as possible. So many of us have heard that their roots like to be grown in the shade while their shoots like to be grown in the sun. And that basically means they like their root system to be kept a little bit cooler, kept shaded while their actual top growth is growing in the sun. So some of the ways that I'm actually achieving that is, number one, I have grown some hostas around the base of my clematis, and I've also put a nice layer of mulch, and actually I've put some stones down here to really just help keep the soil nice and cool, and it also helps to lock in the moisture. Then just in front of it, you can see right here, I have a panicle hydrangea that is, I've just recently pruned it back, so it's pretty small, but as it grows throughout the summer season, it will definitely provide extra shade for the base of my plant. So as you can see, I have my clematis growing, and they're going to be trained along these cables, which will look absolutely beautiful, and they will not be shaded by any plant life. They'll be fully exposed to the sun, which is exactly what we want to provide for our clematis. Now, the next thing that we want to ensure is that we provide them something to twine onto, to climb up. And this is the part that most gardeners get wrong when their clematis is not growing and they don't know why it's not growing. It's likely because they don't have it climbing up a suitable structure. Clematis produce very small tendrils that can only cling on to something that's very thin. So you need to provide something that has the thickness of a pencil or smaller. So we saw the one that I'm going to be training along those cables that is definitely thinner than a pencil. And here I have this structure that I built with some copper tubing and some wire that goes across. The wire is very thin. It is exactly what a clematis needs in order to cling onto so that it can provide support and continue to grow. If it cannot cling onto something, then it's going to simply stop growing. Here you can see these clematis up front that were planted by the previous homeowner. I then, and they planted it too far away from the wall, and it really doesn't cling onto anything. So unless I can really train it into the second clematis that I planted myself, it really does not do anything. It just kind of stays at about 18 inches tall, and that's it. So if you do have a traditional wood type trellis, consider adding in some nails with some fishing wire or some just metal wire that goes across them so that they can actually cling onto. Or if you don't want to do that, you can take some string or floral tape and just tie it to that structure as it grows. But you do need to help train it by providing it something thin, and if not, actually tying it up so that it can propel itself upwards and onwards. Now, the next tip that you really need to ensure is that you will train your plants early and often. I'm here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, zone 6B, and it is the middle of April, and you can see all of this fresh growth from this season. They grow very early, and you really need to be on top of training them as often as possible. I try to look at mine every single day because they will grow a couple inches even daily if they're getting sufficient rainfall. And so that basically means you need to stay on top of them and train them on a regular basis, or else you'll find that your plants have fallen just to the ground, or they've just stopped growing. You may need to even introduce some sort of temporary structure to help propel them onto the permanent structure that you're going to be training them on. Here you can see I have this sort of metal thing that I just put here so that it could help reach up to these cables. Training them is very easy, can simply just be placing them kind of like this, and then they will continue to grow, and then I will re-loop that back through. And you want to do this often, because if you don't, they can become a tangled mess before you know it, and then it will be very challenging to train them afterwards, and they will start to grow into one another. They're also very delicate, so they can easily break. So if they do break while you're training them, simply cut down to that next healthy bud, and they'll just quickly regrow. So you can see here's the growth point that's coming, and then they produce these little baby tendrils, and these are the tendrils that will start to cling on to our structures. So placing those tendrils on those wires, on those cables, is going to be absolutely essential to do on a very regular basis. So as you can see, I have about 4 or 5 nice healthy stems growing from the base of my plant, and that is really essential to having a nice full bushy look from your clematis. If you're growing a new plant and it only has 1 or 2 stems, my best recommendation would be to, let's say you're planting it in the summer this year, next spring, chop it down to about 12 inches, and that's going to help promote new stem formation so that you can get enough stem material growing from the base of your plant. Now, we redid our deck last winter, and in the process of redoing the deck, I had to basically chop off the entire mother plant, which was like 20 feet in length, and basically chop it back to the ground. And while I lost a lot of top growth material, it did encourage fresh formation of new stems. And as you can see, it's full, it's really nice and full. And this plant will definitely grow very quickly back to that original size that it was last year. Okay, so now on to pruning. Now, as I had mentioned, there are 3 different groups of clematis, groups 1, 2, and 3. And the saying is, if it blooms before June, don't prune. If it blooms late June or after, you can prune it in the spring. So the part of if it blooms before June, that basically refers to groups 1 and 2. Now, Group 1 in particular, those are going to bloom very early. Mid-spring is when they're going to be in bloom. And those plants are best if you just simply thin them out after flowering. But these vigorous clematis can get quite large and overgrown, and it can often lead to a lot of flowering just at the ends of stems rather than a nice bushy plant. And when that happens, it can be a good idea to do a reinvigoration pruning, cutting your plant down to about 6 inches. You can do this once every 3 to 4 years with those plants. But other than that, you really don't need to do any real pruning with groups 1. That's why it's really important, keep your tag of your clematis, along with all of your other plants in your garage, in your shed, somewhere so that you'll know exactly what plant you're growing, and then that will help you just do a little search online to find which group you are growing. Now, group 2 has a lot of the really nice showy clematis hybrids that a lot of us are growing. For me, I'm growing 2 different kinds of group 2s here on this trellis section right here. And just like group 1, we're not going to do any sort of heavy pruning in the springtime. We'll deadhead the flowers after they have bloomed around like mid-June, and then that can actually encourage fresh new flowers towards the end of summer. But the one thing you will want to do with your group 2 clematis is to cut back any old dead growth on your plants in the springtime. And let me show you what I mean by that. So once our plants start to flush out in the spring, like you can see here, we'll find all of the ends of the stems like this right here, and we'll travel down on this dead stem to the next section where actual growth is coming from. So you can see I'm going to travel down to this bud right here, and I'll just remove this little guy just like that. And so we'll remove all of this dead growth in the springtime. That'll keep our plants nice and healthy. However, there are instances where you can see this nice fresh growth is just starting and it is actually clinging on to this old stem. So when that happens, I'll obviously leave that old stem to allow this guy to hoist onto. And then as it grows and finds other support further on, then I can remove this if desired. But it really is absolutely essential that you do travel down backwards, because you may find some dead growth in the middle that actually does have fresh growth at the end. I have definitely accidentally cut out sections that I thought were dead, only to discover that it was still alive and well at the end of that stem. So you really need to be very careful about where you are cutting. And finally is group 3. So groups 1 and 2, those actually produce their flowers on last year's growth, whereas group 3 blooms later in the season, after pretty much at the end of June or thereafter, and they're actually going to be blooming on this year's growth. And those are some of the most vigorous types of clematis. They can really get tangled, really get huge, so it can be a good idea to cut them down in early spring or late winter to the lowest set of healthy buds. So that can be as low down as 10, 12, or maybe even 6 inches close to the ground, and they're still just going to explode with growth as the season progresses. So with that, now you know some of the basic tips for growing clematis happily, healthily, and that will allow you to get the most flowers possible. There's definitely a lot more information out there about, you know, each of those 3 groups with regards to pruning. So if you are interested in learning more, make sure you subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, so that you can stay in the know for each of our weekly plant videos. Thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao.